Bienvenue to us. It's time for our international press review here in the papers today with Clovis Casali. Clovis, obviously Christmas, the time when we celebrate the birth of a very famous baby, a very special baby. But your first story looking at infant mortality and the continually varied rates around the world.
Yeah, and it's a story in The Independent, the English newspaper, with the title, "The Unluckiest Baby in the World is Bound to be Born in Sierra Leone." Well, a rather provocative title. In fact, over 1 out of 4 children die before they reach the age of 5 in Sierra Leone. And at the same time, female life expectancy in Sierra Leone is the lowest in the world, with an average of 42. And in the top 10 of states with high child mortality, we find 9 African nations, plus Afghanistan, that comes third. And also, in the Independent tells us also about the best places to be born. Well, the 4 best places are Scandinavian, with Iceland number 1, with only 3 deaths per 1,000 births.
So nothing really new in the fact that the African nations are the worst places to be born, I suppose, you're looking at it that way. But what's disturbing, I suppose, is that this difference continues and seems to be getting greater. That's very disturbing stuff. What's next?
Next, let's move to Lebanon with L'Orient Le Jour. L'Orient Le Jour preparing for Christmas. We've been talking a lot recently, notably on France24, of the political deadlock with, the presidential election postponed for a 10th time in less than 3 months. Well, L'Orient Le Jour says that the Lebanese people are trying to forget their problems thanks to Christmas. The journalist is quite bitter. He says that people are frenetically buying presents to forget that they're, and I quote, on a burning volcano ready to explode at any minute. He said that the Lebanese will be, of course, celebrating Christmas and New Year's, but they're bound to have a very bad hangover on January 1st because 2008 will be a bad year for Lebanon, and they know it already.
Okay, that's obviously sort of dismal stuff there, and not like a journalist to be bitter there, he said, ironically. Next, I think we're looking at something to do with Pakistan.
Pakistan and the US especially. The US since September the 11th have been putting a lot of money in Pakistan, and especially in the Pakistani military. We're talking about $5 billion. Well, apparently this money's been misused. That's what the New York Times says, and also the Herald Tribune. I think you've got a copy there.
Same story there,
Herald Tribune. And the money's been misspent, and that is according to military officials as well as members of the Bush administration.
Now,
so quite worrying.
Just to quote it, saying here, US officials concede $5 billion effort lacked controls, has largely failed. Is that the New York Times line as well?
Exactly. And they say that, in fact, the US and Pakistan had no strategic goal, and 6 years later, they might finally come up with a plan because the Congress is reluctant to pour more money into the country when they see that the money that was supposed to help fight Al-Qaeda and Taliban, the Taliban, well, it's not helping much because in the tribal areas, the situation is getting worse.
Indeed, and as Nietzsche said, a man without a plan is not a man. Let's talk football, because we like talking football, don't we? Let me show you one that make you smile as a Paris Saint-Germain fan.
Paris Saint-Germain fan.
Paris Saint-Germain finally winning. Let's keep saying that Christmas has come for them, which is great. C'est Noël pour Paris. There you go.
Because Paris never wins this season. They never win at home. They often win when they're outside of the Parc des Princes, and they did against Saint-Etienne.
But the big game, apart from Manchester United versus Everton, my team, the big game, the El Clasico, Barcelona versus Real Madrid, how did that one pan out for you?
Well, I didn't expect this result. I thought that Ronaldinho and Eto'o were going to score. Well, no. And Marca tells us, El Dia del Bestia. It was the day of Julio Batista, the former Arsenal player, who scored an amazing goal. I think you saw it. And it's one of, it was a very good game.
Cracking goal.
Marca says that the defence, the Real Madrid defence, was absolutely amazing. And it's very rare that Real Madrid wins at the Camp Nou. So congratulations, Real Madrid.
Outside of the right foot. Last time someone scored by that, it was you against France 2. Thank you very much for that, Clovis, our international press review. You're watching France 24. Stay with us.